Welcome everybody to another episode of Cryptids and Creepy Stuff. We are on episode 5. Today we are going to talk about the Fouke monster. Whether you watch this live or you watch it after the fact, just make sure you subscribe to all our stuff. Got SDU networks on Facebook and YouTube and multiple other platforms to watch it on. But it's just not me. Not just me. Can't even talk straight. We got on here the man with the plan, the researcher extraordinaire, Mr. Bruce.
How's it going, everybody?
The whole
Sorry, had to make sure that my privacy was. Had to make sure my privacy was fixed.
Yeah, make sure we get some comments in and stuff like that. Hopefully, we can get some good viewership in this week because this is gonna be a good one. It might even be a little bit of a long one because today we are talking about the Fouke monster, another Arkansas cryptid. Bruce, you want to go ahead and take the floor, but don't take it too far; it might fall. Ha 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 ha
ha. All right, ladies and gentlemen. In Arkansas folklore, the Fouke monster, also known as the Boggy Creek monster and the Swamp Stalker, is purported to be an ape-like creature, similar to descriptions of Bigfoot. It was allegedly sighted in the rural I hate that word, rural town of Fouke, Arkansas. The sightings of this creature date back to the early 1900s, and even before that, and continue today.
That's crazy. You would think in this day and age, you get a lot more actual video proof or something like that.
Oh, for sure.
Hell, I forgot. We were going to try to get Mark on here.
Do you want to send him the thing or?
Go ahead. You know how my stuff acts.
Let me.
I forgot that we needed to send him all the information we had obtained. Sorry about that, Mark. It's up to you. If you want to be on here, Bruce is going to shoot you the invite. This is going to be a good long one, though. So we'll have fun. Get that situated.
I'm working on it. I didn't completely forgot that I have to log back into Facebook. Let's see here.
All right. Just because me, David, and Bruce are bearded, don't mean we are related to the Boggy Creek monster.
All right, let's see here. Make sure this works here.
Okay, Mark says he's having internet issues. So, Mark, maybe we'll try it on another date with, or maybe we'll just bring you on SDU one day so we can just have fun with it.
Yeah, and kind of work out all the kinks.
Yeah, that's not a problem. But as Bruce was talking about with everything going on and stuff like that, newspaper accounts first brought regional attention to this creature starting in May of 1971. Now that's not when they first started seeing it. That's when
no. That's just when it got regional attention. Yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna pull up the map of Arkansas, like we've been doing, just to kind of show y'all guys roundabouts where it is. Just remember the red circle is the location of the thing.
Oh, wait. Jeez,
yeah, it is. It is pretty far down there.
That's a little closer to where I grew up at. I grew up down outside of Shreveport, which ain't too far from that.
Yeah, it's not very far from that at all.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, most of the stories were publicized in the Texarkana Gazette, but they were also picked up by the Associated Press and distributed to other newspapers around southern United States.
So much so that in 1972, a docudrama horror film, The Legend of Boggy Creek, was based on actual sightings and reportings, and it starred many of the eyewitnesses and townspeople that of Fouke. The film would go on to become the 11th highest grossing film of 1972 and is today considered to be a cult classic and spawned several other movies that kind of veered off the beaten path, and we'll get into those. We'll get into those a little bit later.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I've never watched it.
It's not a bad film actually, and it really makes you think. Like it's considered a docu movie, like a docu film,
Yeah.
because it's based so heavily on eyewitness accounts and filmed in the town and had several people that lived in the town were in the movie.
Oh, okay, okay.
So in 1971, the creature was named by journalist Jim Powell, who reported on it for the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News. Um, the the place is Fouke. It's in Miller County. It's a small town in southwest Arkansas, located about 150 miles. Says northwest of Little Rock, but I think that meant southwest. Because as you could see on the
Yeah,
map, that's
pretty far down there.
that's pretty far down there from Little Rock.
Philip said he almost got the wrestling bout,
Oh
but
wow,
then they blew a tire and canceled, went home. All
man, that's unfortunate. Okay,
right, let's
so
get into this description. Tell me all about this weird woolly hairy bully booger.
so the description of this guy or girl, depending on which variety you happen to come across, various reports between 1971 and 1974 describe it as being a large bipedal creature covered in long dark hair. It was estimated to be about 7 feet tall with a weight of 250 to 300 pounds. Later reports claim that it was far larger, with one witness describing it as 10 feet tall with an estimated weight of 800 pounds. Some accounts describe the Fouke monster as running swiftly with a galloping gait and swinging its arms in a fashion similar to a monkey.
Say,
Almost like the Patterson Gimlin video of
yeah,
Bigfoot
yeah.
walking in the creek bed.
But see, like the 7 foot tall, that's pretty tall, but like 250 to 300 pounds for 7 foot, that's
It's
not
pretty
super
lean.
big.
No, that's
Yeah,
pretty lean.
I'm sitting at 240 at 6'2", so I mean, you know,
You could be
now
see. That's why you're bearded, but you're tall. But you're not no
I'm
relation.
a descendant.
Reports also describe it as having a terrible odor. The odor being described as a combination of a skunk and a wet dog. And some say it has bright red eyes about the size of silver dollars. So one of its monikers being the skunk ape. That kind of makes sense.
Well, I mean, there we go with my relationship to the beast. Sometimes my wife says when I fart that yeah, it smells like skunk.
So, prior to the 20th century, there were several alleged sightings in the general area related to a large hairy creature that circulated in an 1851 report in the Memphis Inquirer and an 1856 report in the Caddo Gazette. I guess
Caddo.
that was a Caddo. Is that a
Yeah.
is that a town down there?
No, there's a little town outside of Mount Ida. It's called Cattle Gap,
Oh,
and then
okay.
down in Louisiana, there's several areas referred to as like the Caddo area, Caddo
Oh,
Prairie,
okay.
stuff
So
like that.
that vicinity kind of the Gazette kind of catered to the vicinity, oh, like a local newspaper.
Well, I mean, and local residents claim that the creature had roamed the area since like 1964, but those sightings had not been reported. Local folklore also holds that the creature can be further traced back to sightings in like 1946 Most early sightings were allegedly the region of Jonesville, as the creature was known as the Jonesville monster during this period. You know about where Jonesville's at?
No, no, I haven't done a lot of Arkansas traveling
Yeah,
down in that
I, I'm
area.
un, I'm unfamiliar, but I'm sure it's probably still in a similar area. You know.
So these sightings, man, they go way back, way back. Um, in 1971 ish, the time period of there, that's when it really started getting national recognition. But I found in my studies that the earliest known actual known sighting was 1908. A Fouke resident, Willie Smith, he claimed his sister saw the creature when she was 10 years old at the south end of Mercer Bayou. And then, again, back to the local news. In 1910, Daily Arkansas Gazette mentions a strange beast that was supposedly loose in the area near Spring Lake Park in Texarkana, which is approximately 20 miles north of Fouke. So, that being said, 20 miles isn't, for a creature this big. 20 miles is not very far.
No, and in that time frame, a lot more stuff was more heavily wooded. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
It
been
could it
easier
could
to.
actually, it could make its way through the woods and not be seen so much. Um, I'm gonna I don't want to hit all of these, but I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
kind of show the bounce around. So in 1916, so 6 years later, family sees a large ape-like creature standing near the woods at night near Wright Patman Lake, approximately 19 miles west of Fouke. So you're looking at 20 miles north of Fouke in Texarkana, and then 19 miles west of Fouke. So this creature,
You got pretty much like a 40-mile radius that you're seeing this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And that was in 1916. And then, I lied. I'm going to go through every one of these because it,
I
it,
knew
it,
you were. I knew
it,
you were.
it creates a pattern. So in 1932, roughly 15 years later, a man sees a hairy man like animal from his porch. It quickly moved out toward the fence on the property and disappeared into the woods. 1941, almost 10 years later, two brothers were fishing in Boggy Creek when they heard a noise. They looked up to see a large, hairy, ape like creature grab their stringer, holding the fish they had already caught, and walk off with it. So, Boggy Creek monster was kind of hungry.
Right, right. Hey, it was like y'all did the work for me. I'm just gonna take
Yeah,
these.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm just gonna take these fish. It looked like it was fairly easy for you to catch them. 1943, a serviceman saw what he described as a wild man run across the road while driving a military munitions truck through Fouke. Then again, 3 years later in 1946, a woman sees a strange animal in the field by her house. According to the local sheriff, she said it looked kind of like a man and walked like a man, but she didn't think it was a man. So, like a sighting like that, if you've got a big enough property and you see a man walking through the field and he looks kind of hairy, or it looks like a strange animal.
It's
um
probably Bruce. No,
it's
I mean.
it could be me, especially if it's at night, around a full moon. Sorry. uh Fast forward a couple years, almost 10, to 1954. A woman and her two children living in an isolated farmhouse about 2 miles from town claimed to have seen a large hairy creature in their field. So this guy is making his rounds, and
Popping all over the place.
well, yeah, just popping up all over the place. And then that very next year, in 1955, a man sees a large hairy ape-like creature near his house on Boggy Creek. He shot at it 15 times with his rifle, but apparently missed.
Well, he was a crappy shot then.
Yeah. uh, I don't know of anything. Look, if you're shooting at me 15 times, probably after that first one, I'm already out of the area. I've got no business standing around while people are trying to shoot at me.
He's
So
probably
I'm
like after the first three, like this guy ain't gonna hit me anyway.
well, yeah, that could be that one. Like after the first three, he's like, oh shoot, I could hang out right here. You got a boggy monster coming up behind you?
No, I was trying to debate on if I want to go close the door or not.
Oh, okay. Same year in Jonesville, two adult residents see a hairy man-like creature cross the road one evening while driving near their home. They noted that it walked like a man but was too hairy to be a man. In the same year, a creature was allegedly spotted by a 14-year-old boy who described it as having reddish brown hair, sniffing the air, and not reacting when it was fired upon with birdshot. Investigator Joe Nickel observed that the description was consistent with a misidentified black bear, Ursus americanus, which is weird because the kid said it had black or had reddish brown hair, but I don't know how you could misidentify a black bear.
Unless it'd been out there rolling in the mud, maybe.
Well, I mean, there's that too.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Also in 1955, man, it seems like there was just
The
rapid
50s
fire.
were popping.
Yeah, it seemed like there was rapid fire sightings. Experienced hunter and trappers see a large gorilla-like creature while fishing in the river. It appeared to be washing its hands before it walked off on two legs into the trees. So
now it steals fish, and now it's worried about its hygiene. Sorry,
no,
folks. I'm the comedic relief.
no, it's good stuff. So then, 9 years later, a teenage girl sees a tall, hairy, two-legged creature lurking in the yard of her rural home one evening. A year later, in 65, a teenage boy sees the alleged monster in the woods while deer hunting. He fired his gun at the creature before running away. So this thing has had some experience or he's had some time with getting shot at. So, it's like, people weren't really shooting at it. They were kind of scared of it. And then all of a sudden, okay, well, I'm going to start shooting at this thing. Same year in 65, a teenage boy encounters a hairy man or ape-like beast near a lake on his family's property. It was described as 7 feet tall with reddish brown hair, about 4 inches long all over its body. It stood upright like a man, but had extra long arms. As the thing approached, he fired at it with his shotgun 3 times and then fled. So I'm thinking that was the same. That was the same guy, but the first description in 65 of the boy didn't really talk about being on the farm. So in 65 again, a woman was deer hunting and she sees a dark, hairy, ape-like figure running on 2 legs along a pipeline. Again in 65, during an organized hunt for the Fouke monster, a man on horseback saw a large, hairy animal run into the woods. Cannot say whether it was a bear or something else.
So we're getting a general description of this animal, and it's on a very consistent basis.
Yeah.
You got your Bigfoot style, description on it basically, with all the long hair and stuff like that, or like the skunk ape and whatnot. So yeah, we're getting a general description of this thing that is very consistent across the board.
Oh yeah. There's not an exact year, but in the 1960s, a man was hunting in the flooded woods of Mercer Bayou when he saw a 7-foot tall, hairy, man-like animal. He tried to approach it, but the creature disappeared into the thick underbrush. When I saw that, I was like, oh, the cojones on this dude.
This dude, I mean, he probably wrestled bears, but barehanded.
I wouldn't doubt it. He had to have, because look, if he's gonna walk up and try to make nice with this thing, yeah.
So I know we don't do a whole lot of like joking stuff on this, but I had to show that one.
No, that was good, man. So in 1966, a school bus driver sees the alleged monster cross the road early one morning. So we're getting consistency
60s
with throughout the years.
and the 60s are got a lot going on too.
Yeah.
So the 50s and 60s were a hotbed for
So again in '66, this guy named Smokey Crabtree,
it. That's an awesome
he
name.
reports that the alleged monster, on several occasions, approached his house at night, was heard screaming, or would disturb the dogs, although it never harmed any animals. So I mean, at least it's not like tearing dogs and farm animals apart and whatnot.
Right. Well, while we're at a little stopping point, you got a picture that you can pop up there
Oh
on the
yeah.
description.
Let me pull up a picture here, and we will
And
we
it
will kind of give a little
general
description of
thought.
it. So let's see here. This is a statue that's in the town of Fouke. Um, that's for getting behind and taking pictures of it. Uh, we'll get more in depth on this, but the town of Fouke has kind of there's a mural that's on a wall in Fouke. Um, here's a clipping of it that kind of shows when the movie was made and whatnot. Kind of description of that. Um, here's another representation of it, and to me, I don't know if people just kind of threw something together, but it kind of looks like a Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, and
It's got
Mark
the cone.
pulled
It's
this
got the
off right here.
cone-shaped head.
Main difference between Sasquatch and Fouke Monster is the feet. We hadn't
Yeah,
really heard
yeah.
nothing about large footprints and
Footprints
stuff.
and stuff like that, and we'll definitely get into that here in a second.
Oh,
Well, I say,
Sam said he had Boggy Creek 2 on VHS.
yeah,
That's
yeah. We'll
awesome.
definitely get into that. So the next year in '67, a man sees a hairy man-like creature run across the road while driving on a rural road near his house. And then same year in '67, while driving late one night, a teenager who later became a Grammy Award-winning musician and his cousin see a hair-covered bipedal creature running along Highway 71. They were residents of Texarkana and had never heard of the Fouke monster or Bigfoot. The teenager didn't realize what he seen until years later when he saw The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Wow.
Then again in '68, a woman sees an upright ape-like creature twice in the early morning hours. It was first seen eating scraps from a hog pen and later seen licking food remnants from a dog's bowl. She described it as having hair all over its body with a flat brown nose and canine teeth like a dog or baboon.
That's neat.
Yeah, yeah. So like throughout the years, there's been I don't know if I'd necessarily say people adding to it, but as it gets more, as the
More
town gets
detail.
as the town gets bigger and more people move into the area, you're starting to see it more, and you're starting to see it more up close. So you're actually getting better descriptions of the creature. Again, in 1968, a father and son observed a dark man-like figure walking across the road, which led to the Sulphur River boat ramp. It appeared to be larger and more muscular than an average man, if it were even a man at all.
Good Lord. All right, I'm flipping through our booklet that I printed off that you wrote up, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, good God, at the sighting.
Oh yeah, they're
This is insane.
they're really going to start ramping up in the '70s.
Yeah, we're still in the 60s.
Yeah, so in 1969, two coon hunters were hunting south of Fouke when they proceeded down into a draw. When they reached the bottom, they turned and noticed something standing behind them. It was a large upright creature on two legs, covered with bushy hair. Again in '69, a man and his family were driving on Highway 71 at night when they spotted what they thought was a man in a fur coat walking towards them on the opposite side of the road. When they got closer, they realized it was not a man in a coat, but instead some kind of thing covered in hair.
Okay, I've drove 71 a lot when I lived down in Louisiana. Like, this is, I want to see this dumb bitch now.
Um, so in the 1970s, the exact year is not known. There were two separate sightings. A farmer sees a large man-like creature covered in scraggly hair walking in his pasture, and then a man and his son see the alleged monster running on two legs across their field. The creature appeared to be wounded.
Somebody finally shot it.
Yeah, we're traipsing around in the woods. He stepped on a nail or something, or
Oh Lord.
you know those locust trees. It's got those big spiky.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
I don't know if they're down south, but I know they got them up here, and you don't want to be running through the woods and catch yourself in one of those.
One of them gumballs, little spiky balls.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I've got kids, and I know you did too. Or you do too. You ever step on a Lego?
Yeah, that's why I'll never use them in a wrestling ring. Hell
maybe,
no.
maybe you stepped on something that felt the same as stepping on a Lego, and he was just limping.
Yeah, I'd throw a fit.
All right. So in 1971, a trail of three-toed tracks were discovered in Willie Smith's soybean field. The trackway appeared to have been made by a bipedal creature walking upright. So there's the three toes. So that's the difference between the Bigfoot and the Boggy Creek monster.
Yeah, this is more like it's similar to the track when we talked about the White River monster.
Yeah.
Even though it's two completely different scenarios.
Yeah, and definitely different regions too.
Yeah, but similar tracks. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
In 1971, several women and children report seeing an ape-like creature in the area. The women had come to the area to view the tracks in the soybean field, so they came to look at the tracks, and then ended up seeing the creature.
Dude, that's what I want now, damn it.
Right, yeah, I'm going to go down there and check it out. Again in 71, two local residents witnessed a creature fitting the monster's general description slouch across a gravel road in front of their car early one morning, and that was reported in the Texarkana Gazette. Again in 71, two men from Kansas report seeing a strange two-legged animal standing in the road and on the side of the road.
Mark just popped this up. Sandbirds.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even think about that.
Again in 71, a woman sees a 6-foot-tall, hairy creature walking through the woods near Willie Smith's soybean field during the late evening hours. So, it's something about Willie Smith's soybean field.
They like soybeans, but this one, she's saying is 6 foot tall. So it sounds maybe there's multiple.
Yeah, maybe it's younger, a younger
juvenile or a female or something like that.
Again in 71, the children also report the monster in the woods near Willie's house, roughly the same location as the previous report. Three people see a tall, hairy creature with red eyes during the evening hours. It appeared to be squatting on an embankment at the edge of the woods across the street from their home. So maybe it was just, popping a squat, catching a break, or relieving itself. Who knows?
Scoping out their trash can.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. like a raccoon, it just like sees trash cans and it's like, oh, there's something delicious in there. I know it.
That's why the people tell you don't feed your animals people food, because then they'll get addicted to it. This son gun done found a trash can and now he wants a chocolate bar.
Yeah. So now we've reached a point in May of 1971. Tell us about Bobby Ford's sighting and what it led to.
All right. So Bobby Ford reported to the Fouke constable that he had been attacked at his house by a hairy creature that breathed heavily, had red eyes, and moved very, very fast. Mark said rumors are the Fouke monster being the smallest of the Bigfoot-like creatures. So, yeah, I can agree with that. Anyway, Ford said the man-like creature, which was about 7 foot tall and about 3 foot across. Good Lord, 3 foot.
Dang, that's huge.
This is more than 300 pounds.
Yeah.
He put his arm around his shoulder and grabbed him. Ford broke free from the creature and ran. His reporting he ran so fast that he did not stop to open the front door, but barreled right through it. The creature did, not Bobby.
Mm.
Where did tell you? He was treated at a local hospital for minor scratches and shock. Ford said the being had been around his house for several days, and that there were other eyewitnesses, including his brother and hunting companion. Ford's wife Elizabeth claimed that she was asleep in the front room when she saw a hairy arm with claws coming in the window. She also saw the creature's red eyes. On the night of the attack, Ford claimed that he and his hunting companions spotted the creature at the back of Ford's house with the aid of a flashlight. They shot at it, thought they saw it fall. The men started toward it, but Bobby Ford ran back to the house when the group heard women screaming. Upon Ford's return to the house, that's where the attack happened. The men shot the creature several more times, but investigators never found a drop of blood. So here we go again. These sons of guns can't hit nothing. Sheriff's department searched the area, and the only thing officers found were a set of strange tracks and claw scratches on the Ford's porch. So there's your first big actual sighting.
Yeah, that's when it got national exposure.
Yeah. And this is when the Fouke monster first made local headlines in '71. It was reported to attack, the home of Bobby and Elizabeth.
So up to this point, it had never attacked anybody before. It kind of stayed at arm's distance from people. Just kind of stayed in the wooded areas. Is just only being seen like randomly crossing the street or randomly crossing the road or a field.
It's almost like it's getting braver.
Yeah, I just thought maybe more territorial. Like, hey, this is my spot, y'all.
Well, it's kind of like, these guys can't hit me with them little boomsticks, so I mean, I might as well. Yeah,
right.
Oh Lord. So yeah, our next little deal here is pretty much similar. Explanation.
It gives her account of the situation.
Initially thought it was a bear. Reached through the screen window while she was sleeping on the couch. It was chased away by her husband and her brother Don. During the alleged encounter, the Fords fired several gunshots at the creature and believed they had hit it, but no trace. An extensive search of the area failed to locate the creature, but 3-toed footprints were found close to the house, as well as scratch marks on the porch and damage to the window in the house's siding. According to the Fords, they had heard something moving around outside late at night several nights prior, having lived in the house for less than a week, but never encountered the creature until that
time. Sorry. So Jim Powell, he was a reporter for the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News. And Dave Hall, then the director of a Texarkana radio station, KTFS, went to Ford's place and found a terrified family moving out of the house it had owned for less than a week. Powell wrote an article that appeared in the newspaper outlining the family's alleged sighting and attack. The next day, both the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily published the same follow-up story. It contained the first reference to the name Fouke Monster. The Associated Press and United Press International wire services transmitted the article to newspapers across the nation. The creature was allegedly sighted again on May 23rd of 1971 when three people, D.C. Woods Jr., Wilma Woods, and Mrs. R.H. Seedgas, reported seeing an ape-like creature crossing U.S. Highway 71. More sightings reports were made over the following months by local residents and tourists who found additional footprints. The best-known footprints were found in the soybean field belonging to local filling station owner Scott Keith. They were scrutinized by game warden Carl Gallion, who was unable to confirm their authenticity. If you're watching this now or afterwards, and I butcher these names, and you may actually be related to these people, or you may know of these people, please pay me no mind. Um,
Or
I
let
have
us
a
know. Let us know that you're
yeah, oh yeah,
related
let
to
us
them.
know. Like the Ford prints, they appeared to indicate that the creature had only three toes.
Okay, so here's where it gets. I think it would end up getting a little muddied, overall, because now you have national recognition that this creature possibly exists. Same thing with any kind of creature like that. When somebody sees something, other people are gonna. It's kind of what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
thinking the term. Um,
it's
it's kind of like what is that? I can't remember
yeah, I
anyway.
can't remember the
But
name
yeah,
either.
it basically when somebody sees something, other people all of a sudden start seeing it. Or it's kind of like when you buy a new car, you don't ever see that car until you buy one of them, and
Then
when
you
you
see them
buy it, now you
everywhere.
see them everywhere.
Yeah, so the incident began to attract substantial interest after news spread about the Ford sighting. The Little Rock, Arkansas radio station KAAY posted a $1,090 bounty on the creature. Several attempts were made to track the creature with dogs, but they were unable to follow its scent. When hunters began to take interest in the Fouke monster, Miller County Sheriff Leslie Greer was forced to put a temporary no guns policy in place in order to preserve public safety. You can't have an angry mob running around the woods just shooting in any direction they want,
Yeah,
because I mean there's bound to hit somebody. Uh,
yeah, because
all, all the
you're gonna have that one rebellious hunter that refuses to wear orange.
Well, not only that, but I mean the amount of people that shot and missed this creature over the years. Can you imagine? There's woods here in where I live, and I can't imagine like just unloading a gun in any direction.
Yeah,
I may hit somebody in town. I may hit somebody's vehicle, somebody's house.
right.
Um, so yeah, that was good on
Oh,
the
excuse me.
the Miller County Sheriff. Uh, Now, it's also important to note that in 1971, three people were fined $59 each for filing a fraudulent monster report. Uh, couldn't find anything documented stating if the three from the above sighting were the same three that were fined. But I'm just what I found was there was nothing inconclusive that said that any one of those specific accounts were
Yeah.
actually the fraudulent ones. So in 1971, again, the beginning part of the 70s and into the 70s, late 80s were really heavy times. Family first hears some strange howls, then sees a Sasquatch-like creature walk from the woods. They were parked at one of the Mercer Bayou boat ramp, preparing to go boating. Three nearby campers came out of their trailer with shotguns, but did not shoot the creature. It only lingered a moment before running back into the woods.
It just wanted some water, man.
Yeah, people come out with guns scaring this thing off. I just wanted to say hi.
I was thirsty.
1972, a Fouke resident was driving along one of the back roads near his home when a hairy creature walked into the road. It looked briefly toward his vehicle before it continued into the thick brush beside the road. So, after the initial surge of attention, public interest in the creature decreased until it gained national recognition in 1972 when Charles B. Pierce released the docudrama horror film about the creature, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
And there we go again. It great gained popularity, so the sightings are going to amp up.
That is true because in 1973, two girls sitting in the back of a pickup truck observed a huge, hairy, man like animal walk into the road where the vehicle had just passed. It stepped to the middle of the road with a long stride and stopped before continuing into the woods. Again in
Is this is this
1973,
your grandpa?
I hope not. I hope not. A 1970 to be a skeptic sees a 4 foot tall, hairy bipedal creature creep across his field early one morning.
So
So
now,
that's probably a younger one.
yeah. So there's it's coming across that there's a whole family of these things in that
Oh, yeah,
area.
for sure. There definitely could be. Because you've seen, over the years, you've seen, several different heights. So again, in 1973, a young girl was riding her bike along a country road when she saw a large ape-like creature walking on two legs out of a pipeline clearing that intersected the road. She described it as being black in color with long arms and a broad chest, which could harken back to the black bear. Yeah, that is a good point, Mark. I do know Arkansas has one of those laws in place, and and I don't know so much if it's just because, or the likelihood that it is there, and somebody does happen
Well,
to find one.
well, it's similar to the law about the White River
Yeah,
monster.
yeah, they
You
made it a
know, you're not
protected
allowed to mess
a,
with it. You
a
know.
protected creature. The word that you liked was molest.
Yeah.
No molesting the fish.
Don't don't molest the fish. You can't molest the monkey either.
Yeah, yeah. 1974, two brothers are driving their truck one evening in Doddridge when an ape-like creature jumps into their trailer and begins thrashing about. The men stop and the creature fled into the woods.
Well,
So almost
that's only the second time we've heard of like an actual like
attack, like aggressive
attack.
behavior. Yeah, I wouldn't say attack, more aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
But again, if my home for you know at this point 70 years um, was being encroached on by
Yeah.
some short hairless ape like creatures, I'd be a little PO'd too. So again, in 1974, two hunters witnessed a large hairy creature thrashing about and howling in the trees. They were certain it was not a bear. By late 1974, interest had waned again and sightings all but stopped. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So as it happens, these sightings they ebb and flow. So 1974, Hunter sees a large bipedal creature covered in black hair suddenly step out of the woods and start to cross the road. When it realized the hunter was there, it stopped and made eye contact. Like, oh, you caught me.
All right.
So
Sorry,
then,
my phone was doing stupid
oh
crap.
no, you're fine. So then again, uh, you don't see any sightings for another 3 years, and then a young man in 1977 sees a large hair-covered creature as he was fishing near some gravel pits near Days Creek. The creature was eating a flowering plant that blooms on the trees in that area. Sightings began again in March of 1978 when tracks were reportedly found by two brothers prospecting in Russellville, Arkansas. So
That's
that's a
where I'm
little,
at.
yeah, that's a little bit farther up. Russellville isn't it about around the Little Rock area?
It's kind of between Little Rock and Fort Smith. It's kind
I
of
got you. So
right in the
it's right
middle.
there in the middle. So
Wow.
so Little Rock is 150 miles from Fouke. So that's kind of as the crow flies, as they say, that's kind of a distance away.
It fell asleep in somebody's trailer.
Sightings began again in March of 1978 when tracks were reportedly. I already read that. On June
uh,
26th of the same year, a sighting was reported in Crossett, Arkansas. During this period, the creature was blamed for missing livestock and attacks on several dogs.
that's more over like where Owen lives at.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like on the eastern side, I think, or maybe.
Uh, in 78, a local resident was looking out his kitchen window when he noticed something crouched down at the far side of a pond. When it raised its torso and head to take a drink of water, he could see it was some kind of ape-like creature.
And now we get to the 80s.
Exactly. The best decade.
I'm glad to hear it. Anyway, uh,
You gonna be okay?
oh,
So the exact year is unknown, but several folk residents saw something fitting the description of the folk monster near a large dirt pile at their home near the origin of Boggy Creek.
hmm.
Also, in the 80s, a fisherman was surprised by a large ape-like creature while checking his trout lines. It appeared to be stealing his fish. It goes back to those
Back to
boys
the
that were
fish.
fishing. 82. Two separate sightings in 82. A teenage boy sees a tall man-like creature with scraggly fur and long arms walking on two legs near the family's fishing pond. And then a young man observed a large, hairy man-like animal moving across the Sulphur River. It splashed through the water, walked up on the bank, and disappeared into the trees.
So we're seeing a lot of these are more related to water. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I mean, everybody's got a drink.
one difference between most Sasquatch sightings and Fouke monsters, they haven't seen some of the traditional signs like marked territory boundaries with trees. And that's very true. You know, we really haven't heard of any of the signs like you would normally see like on a Sasquatch site. You
Well,
know,
a lot of places in Arkansas, besides like the bigger towns, it's majorly covered in trees, woodlands.
right? But yeah, like I said though, but like he was saying, in most like Bigfoot sightings,
Yeah.
in you see the territorial stuff.
Well, yeah,
We're not
that's
seeing that
yeah,
here.
that's what I'm saying. Like you're not seeing like marked spots, scrapings on trees, like anything really saying, "Hey, this is my turf. Stay off of it."
Right.
So I think that's why there's been a lot of random sightings, which were more aggressive back in the 70s, where it was like, "Hey guys, I don't care that they built a house here. This is my spot."
Right.
And then in 1984, a local hunter was walking in the Sulphur River Wildlife Management Area when a horse and four cows came running up a hill towards him. The man followed in the direction they were fleeing, and when he reached a swampy area, he could see a large creature, at least 7 feet tall, with long, dark brown hair all over its body. It was standing on two legs, thigh deep in the swamp, some distance away.
It done scared the livestock.
Yeah. In 85, a young man went out to check on the large chicken coop located on his family's property. When he approached the building, he could see a large ape-like animal trying to get inside to get them chickens.
So it got tired of fish and it wanted some fried chicken.
Hey, people
Yeah.
start moving in and start bringing different types of animals in. It might
Right.
might decide to change its palate or its diet. This is where
Ooh.
this is where people start to. This is the year that people start to um, do the same thing that the mayor did for the White River Monster. So in 86, a local landowner was driving a representative from Miller Brewing Company to a wheat field located on his property. Upon reaching the back gate, the landowner stopped the truck and got out to unlock the gate. At that point, he noticed a tall, hair-covered figure walking toward them, approximately 80 to 100 yards away. When the creature saw the men, it immediately turned and headed toward the trees near Boggy Creek.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so it's like, do 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 do. Well, okay, I'm turning around. There's folks there. By 1986, the mayor of Fouke, Virgil Roberts, and former Miller County Sheriff Leslie Greer were of the opinion that the alleged Fouke monster tracks were man-made. Greer's working colleague at the time, Chief Deputy H.R. Phillips, said that he had not taken calls regarding the monster in years. He does not believe the creature exists, stating, "I don't believe in it, but I'd say you don't argue with people who say they've seen it. Many were respectable and responsible folks." So you got the mayor and the former Miller County sheriff and even the chief deputy of Greer or of the town, basically saying, Man, I don't think this thing is real,
This
folks.
ain't real, but we're not going to make fun of you for
Yeah,
believing it.
I'm not gonna talk bad about these people seeing it because most of them were highly respected and responsible people. So in 1987, a man was frog gigging in a pond near Boggy Creek when he was surprised to see a pair of brightly illuminated eyes staring at him. As he got closer, the animal began to move in the trees. It appeared to be manlike and walked upright. So then you don't even see or hear anything again until 1990 when two men from Oklahoma smell a pungent odor while driving on Highway 71.
Back
They
in
pull over
'71.
and see a tall, man-like creature covered in shaggy black hair running towards the south bank of the Sulphur River. The creature was described as walking upright just like a human, not like a gorilla or a bear.
So this is all in the same, like 99% of this is just right there in that little condensed area.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about
So in
this.
91, in Karnak, Texas, which was 52 miles from Fouke, a large skeleton was discovered in the woods by two hunters. The specimen is completely intact except for a missing head, tail, and claws. Suspecting that the bones might belong to the alleged Fouke monster, the hunters take the bones from the property and give them to Smoky Crabtree. I
Let that
couldn't
guy
find
in.
I couldn't find a whole bunch on this Smoky Crabtree, but he does pop up several times. So
Yeah, multiple
I'm
times.
wondering if he was a local expert. Like
Yeah.
the crazy old guy that knows the house is haunted, or the woods
Right.
out back by the strawberry patch is haunted. So in 1991, the creature was reportedly seen jumping from a bridge. There were 40 reported sightings in 1997, and in 1998, the creature was reportedly sighted in a dry creek bed 5 miles south of Fouke. um, so that cuts out a sighting in 90 or two sightings in 92. Six people, five young men in a car and one man in a semi truck, traveling on FM 134 around 11 p.m. stopped their vehicles to watch a large, hairy animal walk upright across the road. The creature was estimated to be 7 feet tall with a bulky frame covered in thick, bushy hair. It was clearly silhouetted in the headlights as it crossed the pavement and walked into a field where it disappeared into the darkness. All six witnesses got out of the vehicles and discussed the amazing sighting before leaving the scene.
Hell no, I ain't getting out of the car. This
Um,
hairy woolly booger come after
I've
me.
I've got a I've got a similar sighting as the next one. Um, I don't know if it was a Boggy Creek monster or if it was a Bigfoot, but in 1992, Amanda observed a hairy upright creature standing beside the road as he drove at night. 93, five people. That was the same one. No, this is a
No,
different
the
one.
other one was
Two men
six.
in a truck and a couple in a car and a man in a semi truck traveling on Highway 71 at approximately 2 a.m. stopped their vehicles to observe a large hairy animal standing on the side of the road. The creature stood approximately 100 yards from the witnesses and was described as being ape like, yet it moved on two legs like a man. After observing the growing crowd of people for a few moments, it turned and darted into the woods, running fast on two legs. The witnesses discussed the sighting before leaving the scene. So again, everybody like sees this hairy creature, and then they're like, "What the hell's that?" The creature looks at them, and then is like, "Oh, I'm done with a crowd of people. I'm out of here."
Yeah. But I see your next one there.
Yep. So again, 4 hours later, so probably 6 a.m. Uh, after the same sighting, only a half mile away, a woman seeing an animal fitting the description of the Fouke monster crossed the County Road 10 in the early morning hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Then you don't see it. You don't hear any sightings again until 96, when a young boy and his sister see a large hair-covered creature walk on two legs through the woods as they played near their house. Boggy Creek runs right through the property where the house was built.
Shit. That is insane. You
A
would
lot of
Wow.
A lot of traffic on.
This is not a huge area.
No, no, it
You
really isn't.
know, you got
I've seen
like a
aerial
40-mile
photos.
radius.
I've seen aerial photos. I've seen, survey photos. I don't have any of those, but I wish I did. That would have been really super cool to share with everybody.
Right.
So in 96, a truck driver was traveling again on Highway 71 at night when his eyes were drawn to a tall, dark shape standing near the Sulphur River. At first, he believed it to be a dead tree trunk, but then he noticed the shape had two red eyes reflecting back in the headlights. Suddenly, the tree began walking away from the riverbank toward the woods. 97, while working on his car in the driveway, a man sees a large, dark brown creature standing in the woods, watching, watching him. He approached the creature and observed it for several minutes. Deciding to retrieve his gun, he went back to his house. When he returned, the creature was gone, but he eventually spotted it again, sitting in the woods. He continued to observe the creature until dusk made it too hard to see.
Uh, Mark popped this up. Julius E. Smokey Crabtree and members of his family acted in the legend of Boggy Creek and is the author of the Smokey and the Fouke Monster.
Wow.
Huh. Well, I mean, yeah, you would have. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would figure with as much as it surrounded him, I would definitely write a book about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, hell, Bruce almost wrote a book here. So
It's fairly long. I would eventually, if this thing picks up more, I would eventually like to make a book, and each chapter will be basically the cryptids and creepy stuff of Arkansas. So that I think
got
that would
quite
be
a
really
bit.
super cool. Yeah, this would be a long chapter. So in '98, a woman babysitting some children see a very large hairy creature. She watches them from the edge of the woods. While on a morning walk, frightened, she quickly returned to the house. And then nothing again until 2000. There were three sightings in 2000. Hunter observed a hairy man-like creature that was approximately 8 foot tall, uh, 2 miles from the Sulphur River along Boggy Creek. The creature was also described as having a musky smell. Then a bow hunter sees a big black figure, similar, like the hands were similar to the hands of a gorilla. So almost like it was walking on, like a gorilla will have its hands like
Yeah,
this,
the knuckles.
and it'll walk on the knuckles. And then a coon hunter encounters a hairy creature of immense size late at night while hunting with his dogs. It made a hissing sound and splashed water on the hunter while making deep, throaty noises.
So this guy had a very close encounter.
Yes. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
surprised there's not more on him. With
Yeah.
that.
In 2001, there were two sightings. One, a man came face to face with a large ape-like creature while hunting near Mercer Lake. And then a man was drift fishing in Mercer Bayou near the Thornton Wells boat ramp when he smelled a horrible odor. He looked up and scanned the bank to see if he could find the source. When he did, he saw a large hair-covered thing watching him from the trees. It appeared to be standing on two legs. In 2003, two young girls encountered a hairy monster while riding bikes in the evening hours. When they returned home and told their mother, she contacted the authorities. A lot of stuff was going on in Arkansas and in the United States in 2003 and 2004. I was on the other side of the world, in Iraq, so uh, I wasn't privy to this information. So in 2004, a man canoeing in the Carter Lake area observed something walking in the cypress trees at the edge of the water. It appeared to be a hairy creature that was walking upright. Then nothing for 5 years, and then in 2009, a wildlife photographer witnessed something run across the road in the afternoon at a location between Smith Park and Long Slough Boat Ramp. She described it as being tall, covered in hair, running on two legs, as it bounded across the road in a few short steps and disappeared into the woods.
So yeah, she's a photographer, but she wasn't quick enough, I
Yeah,
guess.
moved too quick to get pictures. So in 2010, while driving late one evening, a married couple sees a large hairy creature run on two legs across the road. Light precipitation was falling, but the figure was visible in the headlights as it made its way across the pavement and into the trees beyond. The couple turned the car around to get a better look, but was only able to get one final glance of the creature standing in the trees before it disappeared in the darkness. In 2011, a couple was driving in Genova, which is about 9 miles from Fouke, at around 7:30 p.m. As they drove down the old country road, they saw some sort of bipedal creature jump from the thick brush and run across the road in plain sight. It quickly disappeared in the woods, running in the direction of Old Biddy Lake. Uh, if you're covered in hair and you're brown or black, if you're running through the woods, you're practically in a nature ghillie suit. You're going to disappear relatively quick.
Yeah, easily.
So in 2011, a nearby resident see a large bipedal creature with dark fur standing next to a hay bale as she drove down the county road late one evening. As the car approached, the creature suddenly darted across the road, running very fast on two legs. The creature came within 3 or 4 feet of the car, causing the driver to hit the brakes before it disappeared into the brush on the other side of the road.
So it
So,
it pulled a deer.
yeah. So, I mean, you're seeing this thing, and, if anybody's hit a deer or almost hit a deer before, you can count every point on that deer's head. You can practically count every fur on that hair on that thing's body, and 3 or 4 feet away, you're going to be able to see, large amounts of detail. In 2012, while driving along the south of Fouke near McKinney Bayou, a witness observed a large hairy creature run across the road on two legs. There's several of these running across the roads on two legs kind of situations. So,
Yeah.
in February of 2012, at approximately 4 a.m., a woman was driving along a deserted county road near 4 Mile Creek, west of Fouke, when she observed a hairy bipedal animal run across the road and jump a fence before disappearing into the darkness.
Why did the Fouke monster cross the road? So you
to,
couldn't get a picture.
to hide out in the woods. Fast forward a couple of months, several months, to November of 2012. A woman observed a strange bipedal creature, the same woman actually that saw the creature in February, saw it again in the same early morning time frame. This time it appeared to be crouching alongside the road. In 2013, while filming in the Jonesville area, a television camera operator heard something large running through the brush at dusk. When he focused the camera in the direction of the sound, he saw what looked like a very large person running towards him at a distance of approximately 50 yards, which isn't very far. And if you got it on camera, it would not have been unusual, except the figure was moving at a high rate of speed through very thick brush. In 2013, while gathering firewood near Doddridge, a local resident surprised a 4-foot tall bipedal ape-like creature, presumably a juvenile, like we said.
We've been talking about.
Oh, hey, Fred.
He can't hear you.
Oh.
Bruce said hi.
As it made a moaning, crying in the woods. When the creature ran, the witness attempted to follow, but lost sight as it ran into the murky water and dense cypress trees of the bayou. I can hear you.
Okay, what's up?
2014, a local resident was driving along the back road near the Sulphur River at approximately 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. When she saw a bipedal ape-like animal come out of the woods and stop in the road. The creature was approximately 5 feet tall, covered in brown hair, and had dark brown eyes. So not like the red glowing eyes of later descriptions. It gazed at her momentarily.
This was one of the other kids.
It gazed at her momentarily before running into the thick woods on the other side of the road. In 2016, a newspaper carrier was driving south on Highway 71 at 4 a.m. when a tall bipedal creature or figure stepped into the road and ran across with long strides. In the headlights, the witness could see that its body was covered in hair. After it crossed the road, it disappeared into the woods.
Yeah, so we're getting almost identical
Yeah.
uh sightings on all of this, you know.
In 2017, absolutely, they're all starting to solidify into one similar sighting pattern.
Like Mark said, 80, 90 years of sightings, there's definitely something there. You
Oh,
know.
for sure. So in 2017, two researchers were driving on the road in Sulphur River Wildlife Management Area at about 3 o'clock p.m. when they both saw a large upright figure standing in the middle of the road. It quickly darted into the woods as they hit the brakes. Again in 2017, a man and his wife were driving south of Fouke near Boggy Creek at around dusk. As the woman looked towards the northbound lane, she saw a real tall, hairy human like figure, in quotations, standing at the tree line. Her husband was driving and could not look back fast enough to see the figure. In 2017, a truck driver was traveling south of Falk at approximately noon when he observed what appeared to be a large hair covered animal in a clear cut pipeline. The figure was moving upright on two legs in the clear cut between a fence and a deer stand.
Okay, so we're getting these sightings like at all times. Like it's not necessarily a
Yeah, it
nocturnal
doesn't have a
deal.
it doesn't have an hours of operation. It just moves when it wants to,
But
and
with the this is definitely an area, talking about deer stand and all that, hunting and stuff like that. Why are we not why are we not here? Why are we only hearing about stuff on the road? Maybe the locals are like, I'm tired of telling people about it, you know?
yeah, yeah. So in 2018, two female witnesses were driving north on rural Highway 71 in the early evening when they saw a large upright figure run across the road in approximately 4 strides. As they passed by in their car, they could see it running down the middle of a road, which runs perpendicular to the highway. They quickly turned around, but by the time they got back to the side of the road, the figure was already out of sight. Whatever it was moving quickly and with great agility. 2019, a couple driving south on Smackover, which is 60 miles from Fouke, saw a tall, upright animal dart into the woods around 11 p.m. The couple described it as being very large, at least 6 to 7 feet tall, and definitely not human. Its eyes reflected in the headlights before it ran off with a swiftness that was way too quick for a human. David,
Lord,
you're about six what?
about 6'2".
About 6'2".
So it's like
And I've seen you move. I've seen you move way too quick for a human. Uh, are we sure that you're not going down there and popping in? Oh, okay, yeah.
no, don't
Keep that
tell
on the
nobody.
low
Don't
low.
tell nobody.
Uh,
That was before I hurt my knee. So
Several sightings in 2019. A man was driving on a country road south of Falk, and after he noticed red eyes shining in the woods, he approached. He could make out. As he approached, he made out the form of a large humanoid figure standing flush with the line of trees. So it's just sitting on the tree line, just being like, "Huh, what's going on over there?" In 2019, some researchers see a silhouette of a large figure walking between two trees by the light of the moon. A short time later, one of the researchers observed what appeared to be the same figure while using night vision binoculars. Um,
Lord.
Presumably, it was the same creature. A hunter was scanning an area of woods with his binoculars when he caught sight of a dark figure at the end of a game trail about 150 yards away. Star Wars fans. Yes, Ewoks and Wookiees for sure.
Tony popped on. I lived in Falk for about 4 months, and the story is the Crabtree family members in a suit and Smokey Crabtree. Yeah. So they're saying that the Crabtree family is some kind of legacy of just suiting up and trying to
Trying to
scare
keep
people.
the tradition alive, or trying to keep the story
There's a
alive,
whole lot of tradition there.
right? Can you imagine a whole family of people being like, "All right, Cletus Crabtree,
It,
it's your night to put on the suit."
your boy
Damn
can
it,
put it on tomorrow.
damn it, Grandpa, that suit is too hot and it smells like ass. Also in 2019, a young witness claims to have seen a monkey man in the woods while sitting in her father's truck along one of the rural roads at night. The location is near the Sulphur River, where many sightings of the alleged folk monster have been reported over the years. So the last two sightings,
It's a really big family.
as of this week, or as of last week, the last two sightings were in 2021. A witness reports seeing a hairy ape-like creature run across the county road during daylight hours. He described it as looking like an orangutan with reddish hair. See, that harkens back to one of the first sightings uh, of the reddish hair that supposedly that guy said that was a misrepresentation of a black bear.
Right.
And then a few days after that, witness saw the red colored animal. A researcher sees what appears to be a large red animal move through the woods near Mercer Bayou during daylight hours.
Huh.
Now, there was an investigation. Several people have come to Fouke investigating. And David, tell us about that.
All right. So about 1 month after the Ford sighting, Southern State College, I think it's now known as Southern Arkansas University. I went to basketball camp there. Uh, did I miss any sightings in the Boggy Creek area? Oh, dude, there was Tony. There was a ton of sightings that we went over. So go back and watch it from the beginning. You'll get all of it.
There's
All
there's
right.
been there's been at least 70 to 80, almost 90 years of sightings.
Yeah. So, archaeologist Frank Shambach determined that there is a 99% chance that the original tracks found, were a hoax. According to Shambach, the tracks could not be from a species of ape, and claimed by witnesses that they were from a three-toed creature, whereas all primates, including hominids, have five toes. In addition to the number of toes, Shambach, God, I hate that name, uh, cited several other anomalies as part of this conclusion. The region had no history of primate activity, ruling out the possibility of the creature being the remnant of an indigenous species. All apes are completely diurnal, as the
Diurnal.
falcon, yeah, as the monster was reported to be nocturnal, which later
Uh,
sightings completely debunked that part.
yeah, and I mean,
Yeah,
all this archaeologist could go off of was what history, like most hominids, all primates, including hominids, have five toes. There could be a it could be a taller version of a swamp sloth,
it could
like a
be
ground sloth.
it's a genetic mutation. I mean that
Absolutely.
happens all the
Uh,
time.
you
And
know,
it's passed down in genetics.
yeah, it could literally be anything. So they have made several movies of the Boggy Creek monster. After the initial The Legend of Boggy Creek in 1972, several unofficial low budget sequels have been produced. Return to Boggy Creek in 1977. It was very loosely based on the original movie. A lot of the production took liberties with the story. And with this type of creature that's had, 90 plus years or 80 plus years of sightings, you can kind of get away with taking liberties here and there.
Yeah.
In 1985, Boggy Creek 2 and The Legend Continues
I
uh,
think that's
was
the one that
was
dude said
filmed.
he had.
Yep. And that one, if I'm not mistaken, that one turned the creature into like a bloodthirsty monster that actually attacked people and killed them. I'm not 100%
Oh,
certain.
really?
Then in 2010, Boggy Creek, The Legend is True.
Wow, I didn't realize
Uh,
there was this many of them.
the Legend of Boggy Creek. or the legacy of Boggy Creek in 2011. And then in 2016, there was a documentary called Boggy Creek Monster. There's also been a couple of different podcasts: Honey Island Swamp Monster, Momo the Monster, and Skunk Ape.
See,
You can,
The Honey Island one, I think that's the South Louisiana version.
it might be, it might be.
I believe so, because I've actually read a lot about that one.
All right, so the references of that where I got all this information: folkmonster.net, Encyclopedia of Arkansas.net, Wikipedia on the folk monster. I know Wikipedia is it's almost a no-no when it comes to finding like actual evidence and stuff, but
But you can find some good stuff on there.
well, yeah, but I mean, it just makes it's just so much of as a bad reference because it can be changed from time to time. Um, Another one, it's called Swark.today, which is Southwest Arkansas Today. It's like an online newspaper. And then Arkansas.com, Legendary Monsters. So that was the entire 130 page show notes for tonight.
That was after you condensed it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So here's like I showed you before. Here's a clip of it's thick. So here's a newspaper article that talks about Family Files suit to bar film about the folk monster. They didn't want the studio to alter their story at all. Of course, the studio added some meat and potatoes to it to make it seem more interesting. Here's some more newspaper clippings from random times. It's got the dates somewhere on there. Strange footprints spotted. Folk monster terrorized by hairy monster. Folk monster seen again. So here is the movie poster for The Legend of Boggy Creek. I think they also use that as the novelization, the book version of it as well. They've turned Fouke into sort of a tourist attraction. They have a Monster Mart that makes some decent money with tourism every year. They have different things inside there, different exhibits and stuff that you can look at. There's a better picture of the front of it.
Yeah, we need to make a trip down there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we could, dude. Honestly, we could make a day trip out of it. The Beast of Boggy Creek: The True Story of the Folk Monster. That was a book. That's by Lyle Blackburn. There's different things. There's the original movie poster for The Legend of Boggy Creek.
That's a cool picture.
It really is.
That's why I used a version of that for our advertisement.
Well, I mean, honestly, it looks like that sighting where the creature was running at the guy with the camera.
Yeah.
I would probably crap down both legs if I saw that running at me in the night. Again, there's many different murals and stuff painted. I think that's on the side of the building, the Monster Mart. That's in the parking lot. You can climb up that ladder in the back and become the Boggy Creek Monster. The mart is actually ran by the mayor of Fouke. I think that's what they said. A mayor or a former mayor. They've kind of piggybacked on the popularity of the folk monster to kind of drum up tourism. And from what I hear, it does all right. And I mean, the last sighting was 2 years ago. So, go to Fouke. Go travel on Highway 71. Go down into Texarkana and places and see if you can travel some back roads and see this see this monster.
We got a buddy of mine lives in Texarkana. I need to tell him like, hey, get your camera out, and you need to just travel up down the road all night. Find me something.
Right? Uh, I would definitely love. I would definitely love to have some people that have been there that have actually seen this thing. Oh, that would be super sweet to
Right.
have somebody on. Have somebody on that they can actually describe it to us like an actual eyewitness.
Well, kind of like when we did the Crescent Hotel, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, we had
Yeah.
a an actual eyewitness in you to some of the happenings there. So
But
that was really cool.
uh,
So I think we made up for
the short one last
the
time.
short one last time, episode 4, I believe.
Yeah, the curtain light.
Yeah,
What what?
some things just don't have a lot of meat and potatoes as others do. I mean,
Well, I
like I
know
said,
that
this one.
the next one is if David and I got to pick as the Fouke monster, we would have to stick our beards through the face. Yeah. Um, the
Bearded
next
skunk
one,
apes.
the next one I know is the creepy, and I know it probably won't have like a whole lot to it, but it's still interesting. It's the bridge.
Yeah, yeah.
The hell was that? I can't
Uh,
remember now,
yeah,
but
off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it's a
we'll
bridge in
we'll put the
Arkansas
we'll
that's
put
got
the
some.
yeah we'll put the deal out there and all like that. 2 weeks. We're getting trying to get back on schedule on things. Two
Yeah,
weeks.
so this week we didn't do the ADHD pod. So next Tuesday, I'll have probably tomorrow. I'll have a guest announcement, and we can get some good comments and stuff over the weekend, and
Yeah.
get some good interaction. I know after the fact, I got some good feedback on episode 4 with the sauce. One half of the awesome Los Crudos
Los
tag team.
Crudos. But again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. SDU Networks,
Yeah,
Facebook,
like all of our stuff,
YouTube.
share all of our stuff, and
Yeah,
we're gonna try to grow this. We're gonna try to grow this community, and
this is still in the infancy of things. You know, we're still learning on this stuff. You know, uh, we do. You know, Bruce does. The ADHD podcast. We do this every week. SDU Special Dummies Unit, which is tomorrow. Tune in.
tune in.
We're going to try to tweak a few things where it makes it a little bit where we're not doing the same thing every week. So
Hey,
we'll
you
discuss
guys have
that in
been
a little
going.
bit.
You guys have been going for 20+ episodes.
We're getting close to 30.
Close to 30.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to break up the monotony,
Oh yeah.
or it's like you're clocking into work.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And but
SDU
we'll
networks.
discuss that when we get off of here.
SDU networks is all about fun and informative experiences for everybody, and we're all inclusive. So like
Most
and share
definitely.
all of our stuff. Yeah,
We still got some other projects in the works that just haven't panned out yet, but we're working on it.
they are definitely on their way though.
Yeah, yeah. So, but everybody that tuned in tonight, we appreciate you. We
Absolutely.
appreciate everybody. But y'all have a good night.
Take it easy, y'all.